Canada's new environment and climate change minister is already facing criticism from Alberta. Alberta Premier Danielle Smith's chief of staff is blasting the new minister, Julie Debruzen. Rob Anderson is suggesting Debruzen's appointment is shocking. He points to the minister's website, which touts her support for putting a price on carbon and her strong stance against oil sands expansion. Premier Smith has said she wants to reset Alberta's combative relationship with Ottawa, and her government has demanded major changes to the environment file. Joining me now is political analyst Duane Bratt. So, Duane, let's start right there in the province where you are located, already getting some criticism from Alberta. How might that affect a reset of relations with Alberta with some of the picks that have been made by Carney?
Well, we'll have to see. I mean, the big moves that Carney made was moving Stephen Guilbeault out of environment. Premier Smith had very strong criticism of Guilbeault. He's been moved out of environment. Jonathan Wilkinson, who was environment minister, then became energy minister, but also broke, I think, some trust with the Alberta government and the oil and gas sector, has been removed completely from cabinet, but that doesn't satisfy them. You almost think that Smith would prefer that there be no environment minister whatsoever. That would probably be the best solution for her. I used to joke that in Alberta, we didn't have an environment minister. We had two energy ministers. And in Ottawa, we didn't have an energy minister, but two environment ministers. So to blast Debruzen right off the bat, I don't think sets things off well. Mark Carney himself has supported carbon taxes in the past, but things have fundamentally changed. So let's give her an opportunity to see how things play out. But already things are looking a bit rocky.
And Duane, I want to focus on some of the new faces. Carney said he would include many new faces. Does his cabinet reflect that? Some new faces at the federal level in key positions. Tim Hodgson, Minister of Energy and Natural Resources. Gregor Robertson, former mayor of Vancouver, housing minister. Those are key profiles for new ministers.
They are. I think Hodgson is the big one here as energy and natural resources. He is closely aligned with Mark Carney, working at Goldman Sachs with Carney, working in finance with Carney. He was a Carney recruit. So having someone with ear to the prime minister, I think is going to be valuable. And it sets up an entire reset of the Alberta relationship. So even if there's problems on the environment front, they seem more welcoming of Hodgson. Gregor Robertson was another key recruit, former mayor of Vancouver, being put into housing. It makes perfect sense to have a housing minister in the Vancouver area, given that's probably the epicenter of the housing crisis. The problem is some of those policies that he did as mayor may have contributed to the housing problem. Now, maybe that gives him the experience to figure out what doesn't work and what needs to be changed. So let's see how that plays itself out. But the rest of the cabinet at the most important level are the same people who are around Trudeau. So Dominic LeBlanc is the key minister. There is no doubt about that. Dominic LeBlanc is Intergovernmental Affairs Minister, which he has done before, focusing on internal trade barriers. And he is holding the Canada-U.S. trade file. So even though we have a new foreign minister in Anita Anand, it sounds like she'll deal with foreign affairs that don't involve the United States. We still have a trade minister, but it sounds like they will be involved with trade that doesn't involve the United States. Things are going to flow through Dominic LeBlanc. Chrystia Freeland is back in cabinet. Francois Philippe Champagne is back at finance. So the key portfolios, I think, of finance and trade and foreign affairs and transportation and justice, those are all holdovers from the Trudeau government. Most of the new faces, with the exception of Robertson and Hodgson, are in much smaller portfolio.
So, Duane, with Carney saying this wants to be a focus on the economy and the standoff with Trump, what grade would you give him initially at this point? Just a 1, of course, to hit the areas he was aiming for.
Well, it depends on how much of the leadership it comes from Carney himself. The fact that he's got so many holdovers from the Trudeau government when their economic record was not particularly strong, makes you wonder a bit about the future direction. But often when we see a change at the top, we see a change right through cabinet. So that's going to be critical. I also want to comment on two things that Mark Carney said after announcing his cabinet. The first is how it's smaller and more focused than previous cabinets, and it will be true cabinet government, meaning decision-making as a group instead of being led by the prime minister. Every new prime minister says that same thing. And then over the course of time, cabinets get bloated, and we get more personalized decision-making come out of the PMO. So we'll have to see how long this new reset around cabinet government and a smaller government works.
All right, Duane Bratt, political analyst. Duane, thanks so much for your time. Always appreciate it.
Okay, you're welcome.